The year was 2014, when MH370 mysteriously disappeared from the ATC radar right in the middle of the ocean. For hours, desperate attempts were made to contact the plane, but there was no response. So, did the plane crash? Well, even after searching, its last known location, not even a single piece of wreckage was found. After all, where did the plane go? Days turned into months, and months into years, but MH370 never appeared again. Even after 12 years, we still have no idea what really happened. The relatives of the passengers who perished in the accident could never find out where their loved ones took their last breath. Despite combining the efforts of many powerful nations, the world could not trace this missing plane. Last year, a company named Ocean Infinity claimed that with the help of new technology, they would finally find this mysterious aircraft. They even became so confident in their research that they boldly stated, "If we do not find the plane, we will not charge a single penny from you. You will only have to pay us if we find MH370. Now, the question arises. The plane that no country could find in 12 years. How could Ocean Infinity make such a confident claim? What technology have they discovered? How does it work? And how will it find MH370? Let's understand everything in today's detailed video. It was 8 of March 2014 at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, Malaysia. At exactly 12:41 a.m., the plane took off with 249 people on board. Its destination was Beijing Capital International Airport in China, and the journey was supposed to take about 5 hours. However, extra fuel had been added to the aircraft, allowing it to fly for nearly 7.5 hours. Later, this extra fuel would become a major headache for investigators. Around 20 minutes after takeoff, the plane climbed to 35,000 feet and entered the South China Sea. Until then, the pilots were in communication with Malaysian ATC. To continue towards their destination, they needed to coordinate with Vietnam's ATC. Both parties exchanged goodnight wishes and ended the radio call. However, after this, the pilot switched off the transponder. Because of the transponder being off, ATC could no longer see the plane's exact location on their radar. Even as hours passed with no communication from MH370, search operations began. Now, here's something interesting. While the world believed the plane had crashed into the sea, MH370 was actually still flying high in the sky. Yes, at that time, the plane had not crashed at all. Coming back to the point, normally when a plane crashes into the ocean, the rescue teams immediately search near its last recorded location. But in the case of MH370, things were different. For 4 days, search teams focused only on the last known position, assuming the plane had gone down there. In reality, MH370 had turned westwards towards the Indian Ocean territory. Military radar had caught its movement, but since tracking civilian planes was not their responsibility, they ignored it. The pilot had intentionally taken the plane to an area where no one would think of looking. However, by mistake, the plane did get detected by the military radar, but by then it was too late. 4 days later, the search teams realized they were looking in the wrong place. By that time, anything floating on the water had drifted far away, and anything heavy had sunk deep into the ocean. And in this way, MH370 completely vanished. Years went by, yet not a single trace of the aircraft was found. The search teams were simply shooting arrows in the dark, guessing here and there without having any concrete idea where the plane might be. Even today, MH370 remains one of aviation's greatest unsolved mysteries. From 2014 to 2017, continuous search efforts were made, covering nearly 15,000 square kilometers. But still, the mission failed. In 2018, Ocean Infinity searched for 3 months straight, but again, the mission failed. Around $150 million were spent, yet nothing was discovered. Military radars, satellite data, and electronic signals from the aircraft's engine. Manufacturer were all used to trace possible locations, but they yielded no success. Then came the year 2025, bringing a fresh wave of hope. A hope of finally finding MH370. This time, searchers decided to use the help of WSPR-Net, the weak, Signal Propagation Report. But what exactly is WSPR, and how can it locate a plane so many years after its disappearance? Let's find out. Friends, the WSPR radio network is spread all across the world, not just over cities, but even across deserted oceans. To understand, it's simply, imagine a radio signal being transmitted from one end of the ocean and being received by a receiver at the other end. However, the strength of that signal is not the same when it reaches the receiver. It weakens. It's just like, when we tune into a radio station close by, the sound is crystal clear, but as we move farther away, the sound becomes noisy. This disturbance happens because the radio signals have to pass through many obstacles like houses, walls, people, cars, trees, and so on. Talking about MH370, when the plane secretly changed its route and entered the Indian Ocean, even if no radar detected it, the aircraft would have still disturbed many radio signals while crossing that area. If we can figure out exactly when and where these disturbances happened, we could track the plane's path and determine where it crashed. A researcher named Richard Godfrey has been studying this idea for years. He believes that if we can identify the location through satellite pings and at the same time detect disturbances in the WSPR signals at that spot, then we can trace MH370's route. The pings give the last known position, and the radio signals reveal the direction the plane traveled afterward. Now, let's understand what this ping is. Just like our mobile phones constantly connect to network towers, similarly, the aircraft engines send periodic electric signals known as pings. These signals are received by the engine manufacturer to monitor the engine's performance. H370's engine sent out 7 such pings. The last ping was received at 8:19 a.m. After that, no further signals were transmitted, meaning that until 8:19 a.m., the plane was still flying safely. That's why I said earlier, even when search teams thought around 2 or 3 a.m. that the plane had crashed, it was actually soaring high above the Earth. However, these pings were never intended to track the plane's location precisely. They only created a rough arc showing possible areas where the plane could have passed. But exactly where, nobody knew. The twist came when researchers decided to combine the ping arcs with WSPR radio signal disturbances. Somewhere along this huge arc, MH370 must have passed, and wherever it crossed, it must have disrupted a few radio signals. By following these disturbances, researchers believe they can finally locate where MH370 crashed. Ocean Infinity is preparing to search based on this powerful new approach. However, due to bad weather conditions, the search operations are temporarily on hold. Meanwhile, Ocean Infinity has collected all the WSPR data recorded on March 8, 2014, and they are determined to solve the mystery that has haunted the world for so long.